Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America and across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. We love you in Canada, thanks to Winnipeg. But Big C, there's still no one we love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free, in the home of the brave, on a beautiful Monday, May the 14th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys?
Well, Charlton, this is shock recovery from the weekend. You talk about an exciting weekend of sports, NASCAR, the NBA, the NHL. I mean, it was all lights out, even Major League Baseball, Charlton. It was a plethora of fun, a lot of sipping going on. And now I'm on the road to recovery.
Did you say a lot of sipping or a lot of slipping? Sometimes I don't hear too well, Big C. Did you slip or were you sipping down south, Big C?
Well, Charlton, we switched some ice into some glasses and poured some liquid over there to stabilize it so it wouldn't cling up against the side.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're okay down south, Big C. You know, today's a beautiful day. We just got finished with Mother's Day weekend for all the mothers all over the universe. Big C Sports wish that you had a great Mother's Day weekend for everybody out there and all the mothers that did a lot of good, birthing all of the kids into the world. Big C, a lot of NBA playoffs. I mean, if you don't like NBA basketball, you gotta sit down and watch it again. I was talking to a guy from Nairobi, Kenya, and I asked him, what did he think about the playoffs? He said, well, he likes basketball, but he's been in soccer all of his life, but now he's really into it. We know that Cleveland and Boston started their thing. The NHL, I told you good old boys up in Canada, if you let Big C Sports sing, oh, Canada, I'm telling you, the Winnipeg, they did their thing, and they got a win over Las Vegas. There's nothing about golf that we don't like. Tiger did his thing, but you got to give credit where credit is due, and Simpson had a great tournament. But Big C, I want to get, what were you most appealed with over the weekend? I hear you've been following this royal wedding that's happening across the pond, Big C. Your thoughts on the royal wedding, Big C?
Well, Charlton, the world has all its eyes on England once again, you know, with another royal wedding. You know, there was a point in my life that I never thought I would see an African-American president, you know, and then Barack Obama came along 9 years ago. Shocked the world and made a lot of people proud and disgusted at the same time because of the racial change in the White House.
Yes,
per se.
yeah.
Now we're going to have an African American in monarchy.
Yeah.
Something that the world thought it would never see. An African American being a part of the monarchy in England, Charlton. And this is a marvelous thing to show that the monarchy has diversity also, Charlton. That it is part of the world stage and not the stuck-up club that it had once been forever. And, you know, I really cherish and appreciate Prince Harry for what he has done, Charlton, to cross many barriers, Charlton. I love how he's involved in the Invictus Games for the handicapped Olympians, Charlton, the war veterans that he created the Invictus Game for. But, you know, he's been a world changer in many things. He spent 10 years in the British military, in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So he's really a world leader who's in second place behind his brother. But when you think about the trailblazing things that he's done, Charlton, in the world, and not just in England, but throughout the world, and to also, you know, do what he has done to the monarchy, to make it integrated, Charlton, to bring in an outsider, and not only that, a divorcee.
Yeah.
So it shows that these are real people. And so I give praise to Prince Harry and his future bride, Meghan Markle, Charlton, for their upcoming nuptials on Saturday. I mean, because Prince Harry is a great sports advocate, Charlton, when you look at him.
Yeah.
You know, he follows all of the European sports, but like I said, the Invictus Game for the sports enthusiasts, war veterans that have been injured, Charlton, that can no longer participate with their normal body, Charlton, with a normal body who's lost limbs and other things, Charlton. He invented a world sporting event to invite all of them in. So Prince Harry is a great humanitarian.
Well, Big C, I understand all the accolades and wish him nothing but the best. And I know it wouldn't it be great if everybody could have that kind of wedding where the dress cost $100,000, Big C. Just $30,000 short if your Donald Trump was trying to buy something. If you get my dress, they need another $30,000 to match what Donald Trump paid for the dress he paid for, Big C. You can read that. I just think that's funny. But I think, number one, you know, all around the world, there are people looking at a wedding. Now, everybody's wedding is special, but there's a lot made about how every society addresses what used to be called the Whig Society in England. And to see the fact that diversity has always happened all over this planet, starting back with Hannibal and the Moors, and long before that, even Jesus Christ. There are tombs that show Jesus and Mary Magdalene as black. For people that Google science and they understand history, that's a fact. They can Google that too. And the fact that I look at what spawned from the late Princess Diana, and not only was she dating Dodi Al-Fayed when they had that tragic accident, but there's a lot around the world that's never really addressed race the way the United States has. The United States, the land of the free and the home of the brave, it's always been the one that's been more egregious. And let's just be real, because there are a lot of people who just celebrated Mother's Day. And for all the mothers all over the world, every mother wants her daughter to be a princess. Every mother wants to be a princess at some time. And it doesn't mean their society is any better than anybody else. But at one time, Big C, there was a thought in the United States that you had to be white in order to be a paragon of virtue, that you had to be Caucasian in order to be considered a princess. A lot of young African-American girls grew up seeing all that garbage and how they had to pretend that they were that white doll, because there weren't a lot of them out there. So this message, to me, the wedding, and you mentioned it before, Big C, not just the fact that they're getting married and, you know, people of color are included in this royal wedding, it's not a big deal as if they made it maybe a bigger deal in the United States through integration. That make any sense, Big C?
Well, Charlton, you know, hopefully this will ease a lot of the world's tensions when we look at how this can bring people together, Charlton, culturally, to say this is acceptable now, that it's part of royalty, that you can have an integrated relationship, Charlton. That's what I'm hoping that comes out of this more than anything else, is that the world will take a lot of its blinders off and say, you know, as long as people are happy, what else matters? I mean, when we look at it, everybody is related to someone else to some degree, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so to have this as part of the world's royalty, and part of a legacy, Charlton, this is great. And like I said, hopefully it will ease the tensions on a lot of the racism.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know one invitation that didn't go out, and that was to the White House.
Oh, really? He didn't get his?
there was no invitation extended. It's amazing that, you know, when we start looking at world events,
Yes.
that there's an individual that's not being invited to a lot of them now. You know, whether
Yeah.
it's here nationally in America.
Yeah.
You know, when you get told that you're not even welcome at a funeral,
Yeah.
you know, you think about how bad people think of you.
Yeah. Well, I just think everybody deserves to be happy, and all's fair in love and war. And it's just for all the people all over this country. I know you're down south, and I know sometimes outside of sports, people are so segregated. People say they love God, they love Jesus, but you go to almost any church in the United States, and it's segregated. And I think the black church, the African American Episcopal Church, was first founded in the 1700s. I think 1789. I think over in I think it was actually in Philadelphia. And you can Google that. I'm sure they had other startings, but that was one that got a lot of attention. And because even when people wanted to pray to Jesus, okay, the guy, this holy God, this belief that we all have a higher calling, even people throughout the world have made that segregated. So I just hope that, you know, you chip away at little things. You keep chipping away at people who hate miscegenation. You chip away at people who have this eugenic belief. And you chip away at people who are xenophobic. And I wish them nothing but the best, and I hope they have a lot of great success. I do want to say that this section is sponsored by your Northern Californian Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C's here too. Big C, last thing I want to ask, when they throw, I don't know if it's customary in England, but in the United States, a lot of people throw a bag of rice And I guess it's rice or flour. You can tell I've been to a lot of weddings. I was always eating the rice when they threw it. Some people throw rice. Some people jump over a broom. Some people throw flowers. Big C, are you bringing any accoutrements, or are you bringing any type of libations to the royal wedding, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think they may have a tariff on it bringing any liquid to the country, Charlton. So, they're not going to be able to bring that. So, one of the things you don't have to worry about, though, Charlton, all that rice in the ground over there, there's a lot of pigeons in England. So, it won't last long.
That's funny. I could imagine. Who is that guy with that muddy car coming up in here this wedding, Big C? So again, I hope they have a great time. I want to get your thoughts on a lot that happened over the weekend, and I want to start with racing. I know you good old boys down south. You love your racing. Kevin Harvick and won the Kansas City Motorsport 400. And obviously, when people think about all the great things happening right now in the sports universe, racing can kind of go by the side because a lot of people aren't paying attention to it the way you guys do down south, Big C. They had a great race this week in Kansas City, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Kevin Harvick, Charlton, is on a record pace this year when you're talking about winning NASCAR events. I mean, he's won 5 this year, Charlton, early in the season. Season's not even halfway over. So if you think about the pace that he's on, we've never seen that. With Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, great racers of the past, Charlton, have never wanted the pace that Kevin Harvick is. But it's great for the sport. When you have an iconic individual that is dominating a sport, people gravitate. You have those who love what he's doing. You have those who hate what he's doing.
Yeah.
But what it does, Charlton, is create fanfare and conversation. Because you got all these people saying, well, he must have some unfair advantage. He must be cheating. Well, you got all the experts around making sure that he doesn't have an opportunity to cheat, Charlton.
Yeah.
They test and they monitor the cars all the time. But this just shows great competition, athleticism, and focus is what happens from these events. And Kevin Harvick, like I said, when you can make history, regardless of the sport, even if you're bowling or playing a sport that I love, curling, Charlton.
Yeah.
Well, when you can dominate the field, that's what competition is all about. You have to find a way to stop them from dominating.
Yeah, and obviously, when you're out there racing, you want everyone to drive safe, and understanding how it's important that we understand it's all about safety and competition, and really want to congratulate him and having just a big win is good for the world of racing. I want to just take a little side note, Big C. I was just, over Mother's Day weekend, and some of the things that people are grateful for. I'm grateful for spending some time with my beautiful mother and just talking to her about so many things in life that I'm very grateful for. And over the holidays, the Mother's Day holiday, really it's a holiday when you think about it. Really, Mother's Day is every day for everybody. So for all the people whose mothers are here and those who are not, and whether you're close or far, from Big C Sports, from the bottom of my heart, Big C, I'm still eating some of those leftover pies. I don't know if you got any leftover pies, Big C, but I think I've eaten about 3 or 4 leftover pies. Should they be left over for the mother? I kind of felt guilty after eating all those pies, Big C.
Well, Charlton, I think when mothers do that, they're trying to make sure that their kids stay healthy. That's one of the things that they always do during the holidays and just times when their children come home, is that they make pies and cheese.
Yeah.
There's always more leftovers than what you need, and they'll tell you, baby, you look like you haven't eaten enough.
Yeah.
And yet you've already unloosened your pants and took your belt off. That's the love of a mother, always nurturing.
Yes.
Making sure that her children have enough nutrition in their bodies.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. So, a lot of times I just want to say to all the mothers out there, and met so many fabulous mothers, the surrogate mothers and the mothers who are not biological, but they still make sure they take care of those people who are close to them and those people who need help. And I thought about that because I watched this program over the weekend. It's one of the greater programs I used to love watching with Ed Bradley and Maury Schaefer and so many other reporters. It was a 60-minute special as we're all focused on watching who's going to win the game. And we'll talk about some games coming up. But they were saying that there's over 1 million children that are being raised by their grandparents. And I'll repeat that again because in a nation of 365 million, over 1 million children in the land of the free in the home of the brave are being raised by grandparents who also get an extra Mother's Day welcome, because a lot of grandparents are actually behaving as surrogate mothers for their grandkids. Big C, do you know how important that is, that we acknowledge that? They go through a lot of stress, and sometimes they're not even acknowledged. They think, well, you're the grandparent, you should take care. Big C, that make any sense? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there's been a long legacy of that in the United States, of grandparents raising a second family of their children's children, when you look at it, for various reasons, whether it's health, incarceration, or even loss of life, Charlton. But that's that extended family thing that's always been there. And I know a lot of people take it for granted when a grandparent is there. But to have a grandparent that's willing and able, those are the key elements.
Yes.
You'll always love your children and your grandchildren. But to be willing and able, all grandparents are not in the greatest health where they can do that, Charlton. But they would do it, without cause. They just do it because of the love that they have for a family.
Yeah.
And, it's something that we don't look at enough as a country, is what grandparents do for family members, nor do we reward them for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that you might want to consider is the Grandparents' Day. I know we have Mother's Day, Father's Day, and all of that.
Yeah.
But Grandparents' Day, because they're active every day.
Well, Big C,
and I know
yeah.
in my life that, my parents helped with my children.
Yeah.
After school and things like that, Charlton. During summers, those type of things. Even just when you would go in to visit for a holiday or whatever.
Yep.
Being there to take care of the kids. And the thing that I resented the most, Charlton, they care more about the kids than they did me.
Yeah, that's funny.
They sit there telling me what I can and cannot do or say to the kids.
Yep.
And I'm looking at them, okay, you didn't treat me that way.
Well,
taking the kids, go get fast food. So wait a minute.
Yeah.
We get a burger.
That
You can get your own. Yeah, but I wasn't grown when I was their age,
That's funny.
There were some things I resented, because they treat them differently than they treat their own kids.
Yeah, and so for everybody out there that follows Big C Sports, you heard it here first. Big C Sports, we're going to petition every world leader to have a National Grandparents' Day. I think none of us can be here without having parents. Well, if you had a parent, you had a grandparent, whether they're here or gone. And they're never really gone, they're always here in spirit. But I just want to say to all those grandparents, and I heard a lot of stories over the weekend, when people celebrate Mother's Day, just think about the grandparents. There are a lot of grandparents taking care of kids, helping out the parents. Like in Africa, it takes a village to raise a child, not one person. And I know a lot of times people don't think about that, Big C. But I want to say that Big C Sports, we want to have a national petition, in part of that GoFund Big C fan page that Big C's coming up with. When you think about GoFunding Big C's fan page, we want you to think about starting a fan page for a Grandparents' Day. And I don't say that lightheartedly, I really want to say to all the grandparents, thank you for all that you do. And I know you love sports, and I know you love a lot of things, especially love watching us eat the last cake that you thought was going to be yours. And you say, it's okay, baby, you can have it. I just want to say, Big C Sports want to start a National Grandparents' Day. Big C, are you down with me, Big C? Can I get your support on that, Big C?
Charlton, I love that suggestion because there've been so many marvelous grandparents over the time here in America, over the decades, over the centuries, Charlton. They have been very solid foundations in everybody's life. I know in my life,
yeah,
there are foundations for both sides, from my mother's side and from my dad's side, Charlton. The foundation of the grandparents, ironically, as a child, I spent more time with my grandfather on my dad's side than I did with my parents. When I got potty trained, and that was about 2 years of age, or maybe a little less.
You say 2 years ago?
My grandfather would come pick me up every morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was gone. And I thought I was his son for a long time.
Yep.
Other than him taking me back home at night. But, he introduced me as his boy to everybody.
Yeah.
This is my boy.
Yeah.
That's how I was introduced. He never said I was his grandson. He just said I was his boy.
Yeah.
And so everybody was looking at this elderly man with this little kid, But we were synonymous with each other. We went everywhere. We did everything. He picked me up. And he said, I come to get my boy. He tell my parents that.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful rites of passage in life, Charlton. but it lets you see life from all different levels.
Yes.
From your parents' perspective, where they were disciplinarians, they were structural. From your grandparents' perspective,
yep.
They were fun.
Yep.
And they spoiled you.
Yep.
So you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's true. And so we want to see, we love the fact that being reminded of all those conversations when you're talking to parents and they start talking about their parents. And many of them don't have their parents anymore, especially as you get to a certain age. And so I just want to say to all of the mothers and the fathers out there that have been grandparents to their children's children, Big C Sports wants to wish you happy Grandparents' Day. Big C, speaking of Grandparents' Day, I know a lot of what happened in the world of the NHL. And, you know, we talked about Canada, how Toronto, the Raptors got bounced by Cleveland. And we were saying it would be a shame if we got to the Stanley Cup Finals and we did not have a team from old Canada. And them good old boys from Winnipeg, I know they got like 2 stoplights running through Winnipeg, Big C, but at least one of them works all the time. But Winnipeg, what a beautiful story when you think about the whole nation of Canada. In fact, I think someone sent me a tweet, "Oh, Canada, our home and native land." Big C, there's something about Canada that a lot of people are rallying behind. This one team, this Winnipeg team, and we talked about the contrast of Las Vegas and Winnipeg, and you know both cities, and you think about what it means to that whole country of Canada that they're at least up in this NHL playoffs. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the long Canadian team that's left has been one of those teams that had never represented Canada in the Stanley Cup. And you think about it, the Western Conference participation in the Stanley Cup this year will be a first time, Charlton. Whether it's the Winnipeg Jets, who just went back to Canada a few short years ago, after the team had left the country, and they reestablished themselves back there just a couple of years ago, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights, Charlton. You know, fighting for the Western Conference Final to have an opportunity to be in the Stanley Cup. But the Winnipeg Jets went in and handled business in that first game, Charlton, in the first round. Yeah. Which gave Canada quite an uplifting after being eliminated in the NBA playoffs, Charlton, to have a team still in the hunt for a championship. And it would be great for Canada. Not great for Gary Bettman, but it would be great for Canada, Charlton, to have Winnipeg in the Stanley Cups. And most likely they could end up facing the Washington Capitals, who have a 2-0 lead over the Tampa Bay Lightning, Charlton. And Alex Ovechkin, a 3-time MVP in the NHL, hasn't let anybody down in the playoffs this year. He scored 9 goals thus far in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Charlton, trying to get to the Stanley Cup. Just an outstanding leader that he's been for the Washington Capitals, and finally getting almost an opportunity to reach that promise that he's always had as being one of the NHL's dominant players. He's had over 600 goals in his career and never had an opportunity to win the Stanley Cup, Charlton.
Isn't that amazing? And I want to take a little credit, because I listened to a lot of sports since I was a little boy, probably 8 years old when I got my first football uniform, Big C, and I'll never forget how great it felt to put on some armor. Like the Roman gladiators, they would put that armor on. And the Moors, before they went to battle, they wore armor. And if we see,
I put a lot of armor all on the tires of my car. From time to time,
yeah, they keep them shiny, Big C. And for the whole country of Canada to feel like, that the movie 300 that a lot of people have seen, but when you feel like you're the underdog, you're the smaller market city, smaller market team, and you're the only hope, like Obi-Wan, you're our only hope. I'm really proud of Canada, but I'm proud of Big C Sports for singing old Canada so much. I know I got a lot of hate mail, but would you believe that all the cities that sent us hate mail, they've been eliminated from the playoffs, Big C? The only one that shows a lot of love has been them good boys from Winnipeg, so we're going to keep singing old Canada, Winnipeg. Big C, Las Vegas, this a meteoric rise for them. Their first year down in the desert, and now their backs are up against the wall. But this is a team that no matter who comes out of this series, is such a statement for the organization. Winnipeg has been around a long time. Las Vegas new. But what would it mean for the fickle fan base down in Vegas, even though they supported this team? A lot of people come to Vegas to go and get entertainment, not to sit up and watch games. We'll see if it lasts long term like it is in Winnipeg. Your thoughts on what it would mean to Las Vegas to be down. They thought they'd be up. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Vegas always supports a winner. When you think about Vegas, it's all or nothing. You either win or you lose. And fortunately, to have an expansion franchise that has done as well as they've done, Charleston, to make it to the Western Conference Final. A team that, you think about it, no NHL franchise ever before has won more than a dozen games in a season. This team won the West.
Yeah.
And it's made it to this point. Yes, they lost that first game to Winnipeg. But, when you look at it, and their goalie Fleury said it the best. They've lost one game, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all they've lost is one game. The series is not over. Now the momentum they feel will be back on their side. A lot of times, Charlton, when you get to this point of the season and you've never been there before,
yes,
you get a little awestruck. But Fleury was there last year. He was with the Penguins when they won the Stanley Cup. So he knows what it's like to be down a game. They played the Predators, and both of those teams were eliminated, the Penguins and the Predators. So he knows what it's like to be in a hard-fought series. So to have a goalie with that type of pedigree, Charlton, gives your team somewhat of advantage to not let them get down because he knows how to motivate his teammates.
Yeah, and then also you look at, over the weekend and Washington and Tampa and that series, right now there's a 2-0 lead by Washington, had a 6-2 win on Sunday, and the first game they had a 4-2 win over Tampa Bay. But now they're up 2-0, nation's capital. Has POTUS been spotted around the NHL? I think he was out golfing. Think about it. The team from he represents Washington, and he's out golfing instead of being at the hockey game. He likes to toss money around, Big C. How come he didn't toss some money around to some of the fans supporting his team from Washington, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, when you think about it, Charlton, he didn't go to one NBA playoff game when the Wizards were in the playoffs.
No.
He hasn't gone to one Stanley Cup game, and yet here it is, you have the Capitals on the verge of making it to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
All previous presidents, Charlton, would attend games
Yep.
in that city.
Yeah.
You think about it. We have the Washington Nationals. He didn't even bother to throw out a pitch for their team, Charlton, over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So, as far as his participation in the sports of the nation's capitals, Charlton, he's non-existent.
Yeah.
But yet, if he's on one of his golf courses, he's there. Let's think about this, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's on one of his golf courses. Does the government pay for security and everything else to the golf course? Think about that. That's a little, nepotism going on right there. That's a little double dipping.
Yeah.
So everything that the golf course, everything is utilized there, whether it's the restaurants, whether it's the golf carts, all these things. Is the government footing the bill for these things? I never thought about that prior to right now.
Yeah.
How much is he paying himself to pay for him to play golf?
Yeah, and I know he criticized President Obama, and I think he's played more golf in a year and a half than President Obama played 8 years. So I just want people to, that's always just some satire to think about, Big C. I do want to touch on a sad note for the NFL brethren, and I know NFL is fantastic, and we love NFL. Chuck Knox, former NFL coach, a great man, great leader, coached a lot of good players, Big C, a lot of all-pro players in his tenure with the NFL. He succumbed. His life came to an end and had a great life, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family. But I know you know a lot about Chuck Knox and what he's done over the years as a coach, Big C, and I just want to hear some of your thoughts to his family and some of the sports brethren that may not even know how great a coach Chuck Knox was, Big C. Your thoughts?
Chuck Knox was a tremendous coach for the Los Angeles Rams, Charlton, in their first run there. You think about his coaching legacy with the Rams. He took the Rams to 3 consecutive NFL title games. So you think about that. To go to 3 consecutive NFL title games, Charlton, playing in that tough Western division at the time that they had. But his legacy goes a long ways, Charlton, not only after he left the Rams and took on another coaching position up in the Northwest with the Seattle Seahawks, Charlton, he took that franchise to his first playoff berth.
Yeah.
You think about that, you take 2 franchises and one was a new franchise to the playoffs, Charlton. You build a legacy with that franchise. Chuck Knox's name and legacy is all over 2 organizations. He left the Rams prior to them going to St. Louis, moving east Wexford in Charlton, but he has built and established such a legacy with that team, with the players that he had, that he drafted over the years, several Hall of Famers, Charlton, that he had in that organization.
Yeah.
Chuck Knox will be long remembered as being one of the great NFL coaches, Charlton, of all time.
Yeah, and I think just thinking about as we get through, Mother's Day, great Mother's Day weekend, and of course, Big C Sports is proposing Grandparents' Day weekend. Let's not forget the grandparents are the ones who gave us mothers, and Father's Day weekend is coming up on June 17th, and we just want to, acknowledge the grandparents out there. There are a lot of times that there should be a day for Grandparents' Day, and I know that Chuck Knox, he has a lot of people that he's leaving behind, but also a lot of great memories. You talked about, we talk about athletes all the time, Big C, and sometimes people think of athletes as just athletes, but a lot of athletes are parents, and a lot of athletes are grandparents. And when you talk to other athletes and you say, what made you great? Obviously, your parents make you great, and then you listening to the wisdom they give you. But as a coach, someone like Chuck Knox, not only did he have his own family to take care of, there are a lot of great men that play for him and learn an extra level of parenthood and fatherhood because of how he treated his players. Just touch on that a bit, Big C, if you don't mind.
Well, Charlton, you think about it, sports and even football is a team and a community. It's a family. And when you teach these guys to care about each other, and during that era that Coach Knox coached, Charlton, team unity was more important then than what it is now.
Yes.
Because you didn't have all the outside distractions. You didn't have social media. You didn't have 24-hour news networks when he got started in coaching, Charlton, and building his legacy. So you relied a lot more on each other. You depended on each other. And these players, back in those days, Charlton, we would always have weekly outings in the league, as players. You got together. And there would be a night that the guys would go out, tell your families, hey, this is our night.
Yeah.
As a player. And that built unity.
Yeah.
But that unity that you built with each other and caring about each other, Charlton, carried over into your family when you got back home.
Yeah.
Because you were happy to get back to them, because of the camaraderie you had with your workmates, which were your family, for 6 months out of the year. These guys were your brothers. They were your brothers for life.
Yeah.
But coaches taught you that. They taught you how to care about each other. That, it was always next man up.
Yep.
If somebody went down. But you cared about somebody all the time, Charlton. Coaches cared about players. Even though it was a business and they had to terminate a lot of players' employment.
Yes.
When you were there, you were committed and they were committed to you.
Yeah.
So you looked out for each other.
Yeah.
And, what you have as a player, I get calls periodically, and I make calls also.
Yes.
To guys, I may not have seen them physically in over 30 years, Charlton, but we stay in contact with each other.
Yes.
We make these calls to each other. We find out emails. We can get online, go through the Players Association, because everybody's logged in, and now that's one of the great things about electronic media, is that it allows us to get in touch with guys, Charlton,
Yes.
that we haven't seen because we've moved back and forth across the country to different destinations. The coaches taught you to stay in touch with these guys because they made you part of a family, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They made you part of a family, so they made you care about these individuals that you didn't know prior to getting together, that this coach gave you this opportunity for.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. So again, the late Chuck Knox, a great life, touched a lot of people, and that's so important. If you've ever been a chance to mentor, I remember when I was a young boy, and I would mentor younger people than me. I was about 16, and I was working with the YMCA, when you can actually get into learning how team building works and how to get people involved in games and sport and character and sportsmanship, all those things. I remember back when I was 16 years old. So I've been on a long journey because of coaching and parenting and people pouring into my life. So Chuck Knox did that for a lot of his young men. I do want to say I wish your family the best and will always be remembered. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer leagues, when you talk to them, let them know Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Big C, I want to touch a little bit on baseball. Major League Baseball, again, it's unfair when any sport has to compete with the NBA playoffs. I think because you have 7-game series, nothing really can compete with it. Major League Baseball, I know it gets underway, more heavy in the thick of things this summer, but 17 teams right now are on pace to lose 100 games. I know we talk about the excitement of games. How do we speed up the game? Do we make the strike zone electronic where we use computers? I still like the human element behind the plate. Big C, why are 17 teams on pace to lose 100 games in Major League Baseball, a game that's trying to find a way to get more excitement? And there are a lot of empty seats, I've noticed. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's the main thing there. When you're not filling the butts with seats, you have owners and management getting rid of key players. We saw that in Miami,
yeah,
when Giancarlo Stanton was shipped off, and even their best pitcher was shipped off. And now that Baltimore Orioles is talking about getting rid of Manny Machado.
Oh, no.
And when you take away the heart of these organizations, Charlton, you're left basically with a minor league system competing against major league players. And because of revenue sharing in baseball, which helps and hurts baseball, Charlton, because a small market team is not winning is going to make the same revenue as a large market team that's winning. And so these owners should be forced to put this money back into an organization, Charlton, which they're not. I mean, you look at a team out there that's dwelled for a long time, the A's,
yeah,
who really can never pack a house, Charlton. And this was a once proud franchise with multiple World Series championships and many more appearances. And so when you look around, you look at a team like the Chicago White Sox,
yes,
that has won a World Series within the last 15 years. Even the Miami Marlins, Charlton, won 2 World Series, in the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
And they're not a competitive team. So, Charlton, when you look at these things and you wonder what should you do with some of these organizations, it's like I think about the Tampa Bay, Rays down there in Tampa. We got the Lightning in the NHL playoff. But this is a team that can't draw in that market any longer, Charlton. We have this beautiful stadium up in Montreal where the Washington Nationals used to play. The Montreal Expos were the Washington Nationals. Why not put a team back in a city that used to have a team that supported it? Montreal had more people in their stadium than what you get down in Tampa.
Yeah.
So this is something that Major League Baseball is going to have to look at. Rob Manfred is going to have to really look at this, Charlton, is that you're going to have to invest more money in your players. You can't have these wholesale shopping of your best players when they get to a point of contract renegotiation. You're going to have to keep them in there, Charlton. If you expect them to have fans show up, they shouldn't be forced to buy a program every time they show up to see who you have in your lineup now.
Yeah. That's a very good point. I would hate to see, I know understanding TV and understanding radio. Radio is theater of the mind. You can actually close your eyes and not miss anything done on the radio. In fact, do it right now. Close your eyes and turn off the lights and light a candle. I just had a flashback to Teddy Pendergrass to Big C when I said close your eyes. Why did Teddy Pendergrass always want people to turn off the lights and light a candle when you listen to Big C Sports on the radio, Big C? I just thought that was funny. But you think about radio. You can close your eyes and you can see in your mind what you want it to be. It's almost like the people that date when you need a date, you go to BigCDate.com, as long as Big C, GoFund, Big C, and all those sites we have coming up. But when you close your eyes, you have theater of the mind. I told you I watched a lot of Dr. Ruth Westheimer growing up. She always talked about love making. It's an adult show, Make Love, Not War. But she talked about close your eyes. Big C, do you close your eyes when you listen to Dr. Ruth Westheimer? Big C, do you close your eyes?
I always close my eyes when I go to sleep. I try to do that. But when I got some little bitty woman telling me these abortions and things like that, I'm a little nervous. So I got one eye open. I know I'm peeking trying to see where she is in the room.
Well, I think that's funny. I always say open your eyes, Big C, so you can see what you're doing. But baseball needs to open its eyes. And the way they open their eyes is to stop hiding the fact that on TV that you can actually see that the stadiums, a lot of them are empty, Big C. I know they think, like Teddy Bear, they got, close your eyes and all that jazz. And baseball thinks they can close the lids of our eyes too, because they don't pan up a lot to show you how many stadium seats are empty. That tells you two things. Either the prices are too exorbitant and they're not doing enough to bring some people in and give them a free day. We said it before. If you have a free day for children, maybe children under 15 or 16, then they'll get hooked on the game and then they'll tell their parents to take them. But when you price people out, they never get to understand what they can't see. Big C, does that make any sense to the leaders of baseball? Big C, your thoughts?
Charlton, I always thought a way to keep youth involved in baseball, especially here in America. If you wear your uniform, you get in for free. Period. If you wear your Pony League, your Babe Ruth, your Little League, your Travel League uniform, even your high school uniform, Charlton, you should be allowed to get into the game for free. And with that uniform on. The parent pays, yes. But I would even let that parent get in for half price, Charlton, because what happens is that not enough kids see games when they're little to stay interested. I know as a youth in the summertime, Charlton, that was one of the greatest things to be able to go to a major league ballpark. We would collect bottles.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were nickel for a bottle. So if you could go out and pick yourself up 10 to 15 bottles, Charlton, you could get into a baseball game. I think it was $1.50 to get a bleacher seat back in those days.
Yeah.
And so you think about that. You get into a stadium to watch. And even then, those stadiums weren't full, Charlton, but during the warm-ups, we would be down in the box seats. And, you know, being as stupid as we were back in those days, Charlton, if we'd have known that autographs were going to be a big thing, we would get autographs all the time, Charlton. They would autograph pieces of paper. They would give us wristbands. They would autograph our caps. Those signatures today, Charlton, are worth hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars from some of the Hall of Famers that we got an opportunity to see, but we didn't think about it in that light. We just wanted to be around the ball players, and they were appreciative, and they enjoyed doing things for kids. And I think ball players would still do that, Charlton, if they came and think about it. If you have on your Little League uniform, and you get some major leaguer to sign it, Charlton, while you're there, they sign on your sleeve, on your back, whatever, you have a memento for life, but you also have a fan for life if that occurs.
I agree.
That's where Major League Baseball is missing the boat. You can't do it at a basketball arena generally because these things are mostly sold out. Hockey arenas also, Charlton. The NFL, they have some cities that is, you know, don't always sell out. And it might be something that they can even think about. You come in your Pop Warner uniform, you get in for free on certain days.
That makes too much sense, Big C. I know you've owned restaurants and you've always given away free bacon when people walked in. Like one slice, not a lot of slices, but at least free bacon. Some people give away free peanuts while you're sitting down to eat because you kind of realize, hey, if they're giving me something, I don't mind, you know, buying an extra dessert or whatever. That keeps the economy going. And a lot of restaurants, a lot of shopping malls, when you walk through there, there's some people who are smart enough to give you what's called a free sample. And when you got a free sample, you tend to want to go back because they let you get a taste. Most cars, I know that Bentley you're driving, Big C, they say you can't test drive it, you either buy it or you don't. Okay, so they don't let you test drive that. But most car dealerships, they let you test drive a car, and when they let you test drive the car, then you say, you know what, maybe I do want to buy this car. Baseball. Quit telling people to close their eyes and not see what they're seeing. You're not Teddy Pendergrass. When you close your eyes, you don't see that the stadiums are empty. You can say we're not going to pan up, but start giving away some free days. Give away some free days to let people who can't afford it go and tell their parents, you know what, maybe I do want to save up my money to go see one of these games. I think it's important, BC. I just want to run down the American League in the West. Houston's in first place being chased by Los Angeles. In the Central, you have Cleveland in first place being chased by Minnesota. In the East, Boston, they're top of the heap, and they're tied there with New York. Two great teams. Baseball is always better when Boston and the Yankees are playing. Over in the National League of Baseball, in the West, Arizona, you know, they're at top of the heap over Colorado by 2 games. In the Central, Milwaukee is ahead of St. Louis slightly by 2 games. And in the East, you have Atlanta over Philadelphia by a game. So baseball, again, I know a lot of people understand who Teddy Pendergrass was. But when he said, turn off the lights or close your eyes, you can see things in your mind. But people are seeing that the stadiums are not full, and I know they can change that. Big C, I do want to go down to one of the sports that's near and dear to you. And in fact, I know you've trained some of those hounds to go out there and chase down those golf balls. But Simpson, want to congratulate Webb Simpson. You know, it's amazing what he did over the weekend. There was a time he was up by 20, and he was 20 under. I mean, how can you go 20 under in a major championship, Big C? In the Players' Championship on Sunday, the good old boy won by 17. Just give me your thoughts on how dominant he was to not only win, you know, by double digits. He was just pretty consistent until he got to the 18th. They had a little bit of a hiccup. But give me your thoughts on Simpson, Big C, over the weekend.
Well, you know, Webb Simpson, Charlton, you know, this is the first major that he's won in 4 years, Charlton. But, you know, to be dominant the way that he was, I mean, he was just hitting shot after shot. When you sit there and see the number of birdies that he was hitting, Charlton, throughout each round of golf, I mean, he was just a house on fire. He put so much pressure on the rest of the field, Charlton. When it came to Sunday, guys were taking chances that they normally would not take.
Yeah.
Because when you got a 7-stroke lead going into the final round, Charlton, it takes a miracle to be caught, or you just have to fall off of a cliff.
Yeah.
You talk about his hiccup on the 17th hole where he ended up bogeying the hole, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know,
On the 18th.
He won at 17 under, but he was so far in advance, Charlton, of everyone else, is that it was great to see. It was great theater that, you know, some of the miraculous shots that he hit. I mean, you think about the first 2 rounds when they paired Tiger, Fowler, and Mickelson together, Charlton.
Yes.
Is that's where all the interest was in this tournament. Phil didn't make the cut. He had that Tigerism in his system once again. When Tiger's around, his butt gets tight as a frog in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And he can't function. But, you know, even Ricky Fowler, you thought Ricky Fowler would be more competitive than he was, but playing in that Tiger fishbowl, it did something to him. But it was great to see Tiger, who had the best round over the weekend. He shot the best rounds of all the golfers, Charlton, over the weekend. So if he could have got his first 2 days where he shot a 72 and a 71, if he could have been in the 60s in those,
Yeah.
you think about what he could have did, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
Even on Sunday, he got within 4 shots of Webb Simpson, Charlton, in that final round, but he double bogeyed the hole, Charlton, on 17.
Yes.
And that took him out of contention, Charlton. He finished, you know, 11, you know, minus 11. But, you know, to get within 4 shots after shooting just par golf, Charlton, on the first 2 days, and the leader had a 20-shot lead, that was phenomenal golf by Tiger Woods. Maybe he is finding something. As much as you doubt what he can't do any longer, at times he just amazes you and say, hey, I've seen this guy play before.
Yeah, it's a great tournament, and Woods shot 72, 71, 65, and 69, and then Simpson 66, 63, 68, and 73. And so golf was just great to watch over the weekend. And so a lot of the good old boys that are out there, you know, I wish Phil could have been there too to kind of add some drama to it. But again, you look at the TPC Sawgrass Players Stadium, you know, it's just a great place. $11 million purse, and the good old boy took home $1.9 million. I'm sure he'll spend all that $1.9 million for a good cause and do some good things with that money. But Big C, I know as we get ready for our final segment of the Big C Sports Day, again, we do want to wish everyone well, and especially hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. I mean, we are pushing for that Grandparents' Day weekend too. We don't say that lightly. We need to find a way to get that on the signatures for people to say, let's celebrate Grandparents' Day. And speaking of celebration, in Boston, Massachusetts, a city that's known for championships, a city that's known for great education, and whether you have Harvard or you have UMass, there's a lot of great educational institutions in Boston on the East Coast. Cleveland looked a bit tired, and they looked like they were just a little bit outcoached. I know it's one game, but when I see a team that's just determined to shoot the three-point ball when it was not falling because they didn't have their legs under them. I saw King James, the first time he did not have vibranium in his cereal, Big C. Without that vibranium, he's a mere mortal 15 points. But I want to get your thoughts on what Boston did. Cleveland kept trying to shoot threes. They were at one point like 2 for 14. If you're 2 for 14, doesn't that tell you drop the paint, Big C? Give me your thoughts on what Boston did that made it look like it was an easy victory, at least in game one, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, Boston, you know, they just outcoached Cleveland in this game, Charlton. You had guys that were ready to play, and maybe Cleveland had too much rest. But you got to realize, Charlton, LeBron is he has lost more first-round games than what he's won in the opening games. So he's only won 35% of the opening games in a series in his entire career. So this is not untethered territory for him.
Yeah.
It's just when you look at Boston has a lot of young legs, Charlton, and they put pressure on them consistently. The guy that we had talked about, Horford, Charlton, going into this series that would be a problem for the Cavaliers was a problem in game one. He bullied Kevin Love all over the place, Charlton. And people will say, well, LeBron had a bad game. Well, Kevin Love didn't have a game. As much as LeBron didn't have one, Kevin Love didn't have one. And the guys that you think will knock down the threes, Charlton, they did not do that. J.R. Smith was nowhere to be seen, Charlton. And so this was a big problem for them. And the young legs of Boston just kept them going up and down the floor all night long, Charlton. When you looked at Jaylen Brown, you look at Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris, who really did a marvelous job on LeBron defensively.
Yeah.
And so they took away the things that they did inside. But you think about it. When you talk about, they were 0 for 13 at one point on three-point shots.
Yeah.
And they were uncontested three-point shots, Charlton. So you talked about looking a little tired. Their legs weren't there. If you can't elevate properly on that three-point shot, Charlton, get it off in rhythm, you could see that they were more like aiming the three-point shot.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers were.
Yeah.
And Boston was just in the flow all night long, Charlton. When you get off to a 30-8 lead in the first quarter, and in the playoffs, it's very tough for an opposing team to come back, especially when you're playing at home.
Yeah. Kevin Love, 17 points, 8 rebounds. James added 9 assists and 7 boards. The Cavaliers missed 14 three-point attempts. The first 14. If you miss the first 3, go to the basket. If you miss the first 5, go to the basket. If you miss the first 7, go to the basket. If you miss the first 9, go to the basket. If you miss the first 11, go to the basket. You miss the first 14, why are they not going to the basket? Doesn't make any sense. I do want to just say that, again, Boston, a great game, is at home. They have all the energy in their favor. And I want to get your thoughts before we get on Golden State and Houston that's right now underway down in Texas. What does Cleveland have to do? You mentioned LeBron hasn't been all successful in the game ones of series. What do they do, Big C, coming back? They can't just ride LeBron. It has to be somebody got to realize they're also in the Eastern Conference Finals and not just leave it up to him, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Jonathan, first and foremost, I mean, you got Baines and Horford in the middle for the Celtics. They have to find a way to play better defense against the bigs of the Celtics, because that's where, when you're getting points in the paint, Charlton, it makes it easy to kick it out to the three or get it out on the arc to the shooters. And that's what Boston did well. Brad Stevens set up a marvelous game plan to play inside out. And so when that shot wasn't covered inside, they could go to the basket. When they doubled down inside, they could kick it out to an open shooter.
Yeah.
Now, Cleveland, they got to find a way to get their guys unleashed. You know, we said they looked a little bit tired, Charlton, and they did. And so I don't know what the rest factor will be for them, Charlton. You know, can they get this in their mind? I mean, they had such an easy time with Toronto, but Toronto laid over after game one.
Yeah.
Boston is not going to do that. They're not intimidated by this team. And, you know, the thing you have to look at with Boston, do you keep this team together that you have right now if they make it to the NBA Finals? And if you do you trade the two guys that did not play this year, Kyrie Irving and the kid that got Gordon Hayward?
Gordon Hayward, yeah.
Would you trade those guys? If I'm Danny Ainge and this team makes it to the finals, Charlton, I'm trading those two guys and getting me 2 more young players because they will bring you value.
Well, speaking of value and speaking of vibranium, thinking of oil and thinking of gold, California's a golden state. Texas is known for oil. They also, you don't want to run into a Texas judge, basically. I heard some good old boys say it doesn't turn out too well. And people getting hyped. Houston and Golden State, we've been talking about it for a long time. This is the first time that the Warriors in a playoff series are starting out in the last 4 seasons not being the home court. I mean, you think about home court advantage, what it could mean. It could all change back to California with a win tonight. And you think about what the Warriors have done. The Warriors matched the Chicago Bulls record NBA straight playoff home games and home victories. that is incredible when you have the home court advantage that many times in the playoffs. They matched Chicago back in the day with the great Michael Jordan. Give me your thoughts on this game tonight that's already underway down in the great state of Texas, and just give me your thoughts on what it's going to take for both teams to be victorious. Big C, your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, Houston has to win the series. If they lose game one, series is over. Mentally, they are whipped at that point. It would be like the Toronto Raptors. We've done all this for nothing, and now we've lost the home court advantage. That's what Cleveland put on the Toronto Raptors. And that's, when you look at the Golden State Warriors, Charlton, they pass the basketball so well.
Yes.
That's the thing that people don't give them credit for, is how well they pass the basketball. They move it around to the open man. I mean, and when you have players that can come off the bench like Livingston, Iguodala, you know, these guys can score. West, you know, Young, they can put points in the
JaVale McGee. Yeah.
And so that's where you get tired at. You try to keep up with Durant, which you have no matchup for Durant defensively. Who do you put on him? You have nobody. You can't put Carmelo on it because now the paint is open, Charlton. They'll be cutting to the basket all night long.
Yeah.
And so the mismatch is there. You can't get Harden to play defense. So, you know, we saw a great game in the last game by Paul, but can he repeat that performance, Charlton, having to play defense against the Warriors? If they lose this game one, Charlton, they might as well pack it in and get ready.
Well, there's a friend of mine that keep calling me from Big. I said, you're not getting my money. Okay, they keep calling. He said, I got the inside scoop. He said Golden State in 6 games, but he also said, as people wonder what superstar is going to have the best game, no matter who you're going for, Golden State or Houston, I want to go for Golden State because I love covering games and it's easier in the Bay Area than getting on a plane and flying down to Texas, Big C. But he said, watch the foul line. The foul line will tell you if James Harden is getting that, hey, someone touched me on the shoulder, so I got to act like Mike Tyson hit me and flop all over the floor. If the NBA officials are goaded into making that call, where he floats his hands up in the air and draws the contact, then you got to watch the foul line. That's my good old boy from Las Vegas telling me, Big C, do you give much credence to that? Watch the foul line and count who has been to the foul line the most at halftime, and that will tell you what Las Vegas wants to see tonight as far as who may win this game. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you know, free throws are always important, but, you know, this is the playoffs, and this is the Western playoffs. And you have these two teams. I see the officials letting them play more than not letting them play, Charlton, because you know the antics of certain players, the movements that they make trying to get to the line. And I think it's a clear picture when Harden does what he does. I think the most important thing for Golden State defensively is to keep Draymond Green out of foul trouble. If he stays on the floor, Charlton, Houston has no chance because he's just a dominant player in all aspects of the game, defensively, rebounding, assists. And he puts in points. He'll have double digits, and you won't even realize that he scored, Charlton.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, if you love basketball, if you love that old style basketball where the score is 85, 83, or 91, 90, this is not a game for you. This is a game where both teams will get into the triple digits. In fact, Vegas has they have the over-under at 223.5. Pay attention to the foul line. Vegas has Houston winning by 1.5. You get 1.5 by Vegas. That seems like it might be fool's goal. I know the NBA loves 7 games, and I'm just excited to see everything. It's like that date. You know how you go on BigCDate.com, and you can't wait to see what that girl actually looks like, Big C. So you can play Teddy Pendergrass, turn off the lights and light a candle. Okay, tonight, turn on the lights, open your eyes, and watch this game. This is what makes NBA basketball fantastic. Can't wait to see what happens in this game. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, today the Supreme Court opened up sports betting across the country, Charlton. They overruled an act that said, sports betting could only be in Nevada. It was an antitrust scenario. Now they've legalized sports betting in all 50 states, Charlton. Within a year, you'll see 30 to 35 states with live sports betting, Charlton, in all those states. And what will this do for professional sports? The NBA had already gotten their hand in and said they're going to take 1% of sports bets wagered inside the arenas. You're going to start seeing this up on the big screen in the arena where you can make real-time bets, Charlton. Watch for the NFL, the most popular of sports, to get involved in that as early as this season coming up, Charlton. The NFL may take as much as 5% to allow in the arena sports betting, Charlton.
Ouch. Talk about being robbed with your eyes closed. Didn't we tell you open your eyes, Big C? And speaking of opening your eyes, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.